Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Burchett, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Steinitz, did I get that right, ma'am? Is your mic turned on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And don't call me sir, ma'am. You're fine. You got to call these other knuckleheads sir and ma'am. I'm good with Tim. Thank you. Are there federal laws that are requiring the disclosure of third-party litigation financing?
Currently, there are no laws that directly require that, no.
Do you know the total number of litigation investors operate in the U.S.?
No, the total number is not known.
Okay. Do you generally know the rate of return for these investors?
No, that's also private information.
Okay. Do you know the total amount of funding in the third-party litigation financing industry?
There are only estimates.
Just estimates.
Correct.
Would you share some of those estimates with us? Or are you allowed to, that'd be, I'm not a lawyer. I know there's a word for it. I've seen it on television, but guessing or something. I'm not guessing, but all right. Well, Professor, let me ask you this. Have you heard of a company called Burford Capital?
I have, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Are you aware that in 2018, Burford Capital reached an agreement with a sovereign wealth fund to provide over $1 billion in capital for Burford's litigation investments?
I have seen a press release, yes.
So what these folks do is they just invest in these things and hoping for a return, obviously.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. So foreign countries can fund U.S. litigation.
They can invest in third-party funders that invest in litigation in the U.S., yes.
Yes, ma'am. So would this mean that foreign adversaries and other bad actors could potentially exploit our litigation system to advance their home industries?
Potentially, yes.
Could litigation funded by foreign adversaries potentially delay technology critical to national security?
Potentially, yes.
Could third-party litigation funding potentially allow foreign adversaries to access privileged information?
Potentially, yes.
Without federal litigation or regulations, is it possible to determine the extent to which non-U.S. persons or entities are engaged in third-party litigation funding?
No, without regulation, there's no way to do so.
Okay. Okay, Professor, let me ask you this. Are you aware in 2018 that the Biden administration settled a lawsuit with the Sierra Club and other environmental groups that sued the National Marine Fisheries Service?
I am not familiar with that, no.
Okay. You know who pays when the government settles a lawsuit with a plaintiff?
The taxpayer.
The taxpayers. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. See, that was called a leading question. If you didn't know that, I do know that. In cases where a plaintiff successfully sues the government, who pays the judgment?
Successfully sues the government, the taxpayer, ultimately.
Yes, ma'am. So foreign adversaries and other bad actors could fund litigation threatening national security and then have it paid off by the American taxpayer.
If they're litigating or funding litigation against the U.S. government, yes.
Okay. Ms. Lucas, you're an environmental scientist, is that correct?
Water resources, sir.
Okay. But you would consider yourself a scientist?
Yes.
All right, good. Do you have concerns that some of the financiers of these lawsuits, especially those that claim to litigate in the name of climate justice, could actually be negatively impacting the environment in the long run?
That is one of my concerns, that we will not get up to speed in time to meet our goals of the Paris Agreement. We will not meet our goals for the U.S., and we will not meet our goals internally for our state that has set a 100% clean energy goal by 2040.
Okay.
We need minerals to build those materials.
Right. Ms. Wine, let's get that name right. Ween or Wine?
Congressman Ween.
Ween, Ms. Ween. What would be the long-term impacts of our economy if this broad network of activists went unchecked and its billions of dollars spent annually weren't disclosed?
Congressman, I think we're seeing it now, right? We are seeing the amassing of litigation, of unmeritorious claims, resulting in multi-billion-dollar settlements, money that could be used to further innovation, funds that could be used to further science, funds in our case that could be used to change health for humanity, which is what the thousands of people employed by Johnson & Johnson try to do every day.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, panelists.